feel often, say, it's this thing with the overwhelm. What on earth do you do when you get swamped? Here's something I do. It's very sophisticated. It's called a blank sheet of paper. I like big sheets of paper, A3 size. As soon as I get that feeling of being back in this tube and being barreled with all these people, I think, whoa, time out. And I just dump all my brain and the stuff on my brain as a big hideous mind map to get everything out. And it takes maybe only about 15 minutes actually, and boy does it feel good. Just to get it out on there saying, oh right, that's the extent of all the stuff that's going on. Then maybe, after a cup of coffee or whatever, different perspective, what are the things that really, really need doing right now? And I highlight those and sort of ring them in red typically. So that's cut down a mass of the stuff. These are the things that actually need to focus. Then it becomes much easier to say, well, actually, that's the one I'm going to start on right now. And if I'm really under the crunch, and this is the crazy thing I find with me, I can be so efficient at times, but other times I kind of faff around. And I remember a couple of years ago, lots of pressure. I was about to fly off to New York that afternoon. It was a Sunday, and I think there's loads of things I need to do before going. I did one of these. I came up with 6 things. I put an estimated time against what it was going to do. And you know what? I achieved it all. I thought, oh, that's pretty cool. Now, why can't I do that all the time? So I'm still working on that, so I'm work on progress. But I know what's capable, and so I want to share that with you, if it helps getting over the overwhelm. The other thing, in 2004, I decided, crazy challenge, some of you know I like the outdoors and doing stuff, Pennine Way, 256 miles. The challenge was do it in 10 days. It's almost a marathon a day, with kit and so on. Now, here's the thing, okay, that in itself is challenging me. The longest day, just with the geography, was 30 miles. I just did it with another guy. We'd walked over 200 miles, and we then faced 30 miles. I can't cope with the distance. It's too far. I can't get my head around it. So what I did, I was the one with the maps. A thumb length on the map at the speed we were walking would take about half an hour. And that's what I was thinking about. Okay, we're here on the map now. Thumb length right, in half an hour we'll be there. It's all I'm caring about. Don't care about anything else. That. And in half an hour's time, thereabouts, oh, right, we're now here. Hurrah! Next half hour. And that's how we got through the day. It started, I think Boots on Turf was 6 a.m. and we finally arrived at 10:40 at night. It was a long day. But we did it. Hurrah! And only one day. But that, again, when I'm in this feeling of being barreled in the carpet machine, I go into that mode. And it's really effective, and it's actually being able to engage it. And maybe to operate like that all the time would be a bit manic. But I think knowing that you can do it, and you'll probably have your own strategies as well, but those are things that I've found work for me. And the other thing, when I was age 26, working for Rover Group, I was thrown into production as a production superintendent, suddenly responsible for 80 people, mainly blokes on the line, and it was a shambles. It was people running around like headless chickens, and you thought, oh my goodness, what have I come into? And trying to plan a way out of that was really tough, because you were just being, the line stopped, there'd be people squawking on the walkie-talkies and scurrying about. It was just chaos all day. And so what I came up with was to think, okay, 5 minutes doing something to make tomorrow better. That was the mantra I had. And there'd be some days I'd get buried, and it wasn't going to happen. It's like, okay, pick myself up, dust myself down, tomorrow's another day, off we go. And bit by bit, again, over a kind of 3-month, 100-day period, I actually made significant progress. And it was simple things like making a phone call. There was some problem where the door pads weren't being fitted. I was running a door build section. And I was on nights, I was actually ended up manning a repair station. I was driven absolutely mental by this. So I found, well, why aren't these being fitted? It turned out it's because gunk in the holes from the paint shop. I actually phoned them up. and make them aware. And actually, I think I did go over there. It took a bit more than 5 minutes. But it was the action of just picking the phone up, making a call. And it's what sounds in a calm environment. You think, well, what's so difficult about that? But when your head's full of all sorts of stuff, in my experience, and I'm seeing a few nods as well, you just think, and nothing happens. So it's the sort of training yourself just to go through that one step and take action. The other piece I'll leave you with, this was a lovely one from Honda, when I worked closely with them. The guy talked about NATO, North Atlantic Treaty Alliance. I thought, no. No action, talk only. You know, he was referring to some of the people describing as NATO people. And I think you don't want to be a NATO person, so it's actually how do you break through that? It's this 5 minutes a day, just make that call. And in a Toastmaster environment, what I see a lot is people saying, oh, I just haven't had time to come up with a speech. And I've done 2 speeches in the last 2 weeks under ridiculous time pressures, and I've just made it happen. And I think because I'm trained myself, I'm traveling around on public transport a lot, which is quite good. So 5 minutes on the tube, 5 minutes on a bus, I just use that time to brainstorm ideas. And it could be, again, actually just Google a theme or just sit and think. You know, go in a park, sit on a park bench, sit in the car. Just use those slots of time, which I think are so easily wasted. It might be meeting schedule looks in absolute chaos. Meetings tomorrow, what to do? Again, just pick up the phone, or you're not getting members at the meeting. You know, so many people, again, nothing happens, but just pick up the phone to somebody, get someone else making calls. And it's just that one step. I think what happens is it builds momentum. And again, when you've been stuck in things, I think just to see a little bit of progress, it reinforces success, builds success. So, next block, I'd like you to think about what are the specific actions, and actually think of 2 actions. You know, if you can do Monday and Tuesday, again, it's quickly getting things into play, and again, areas in Toastmasters that you could be using this to develop the skills. Just do a couple of minutes each way again. Off you go. Same rules.